Hello and welcome. Today's topic is going to be how to get people to do what you want. My name is Todd Hershey, and I'd like to welcome you to this very special episode. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the gigantic red flags and all the elephants in the room. How to get people to do what you want is definitely a very loaded topic. So we're going to basically take some of the bullets out of the gun before we even start. This is not a video on getting people to do whatever you want them to do anytime, any place, anywhere you want them to do it. Though there will be parts of this video which will allow you to determine if you're a good person or a bad person, depending upon what you use this information for. Pretty much like a hammer. You can build a house, you can destroy somebody's car. Up to you. 2, this is about free will. This is about understanding and caring and helping people grow, helping people to do things and to make the world a better place. This is not a place for sociopaths to come and run wild or narcissists to come and run wild and get people to do all kinds of things that they didn't plan on doing. And finally, the third thing is that yes, I understand you cannot get people to do things that they are not capable of doing. And by that, I'd like to show you the following. This is a little flip. Perfect. Yay, that's great. You asked me to do a backflip. I'll jump up and probably land on the back of my head. I will not be able to get my feet over my head. I will not jump that high. I will not do any of the things that he probably did. So in other words, getting people to do what you want means that they are actually capable of doing these things. So please don't think that you're going to be able to ask somebody to do something for you, say a person such as myself to go out and run a marathon tomorrow. That's not going to happen. Or you're going to be able to convince some famous movie star to all of a sudden drop whatever they're doing and come be with you, because that's probably not what needs to happen either. Unless you are maybe a very famous movie star yourself, or a producer or a director, and they need you out and on set. In which case, mazel tov, go for it. But this is going to be basically a communications video on how to communicate with people so that you can get what it is that you want in a way that benefits not only yourself, but it benefits the other person. Now, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to figure out who we're talking to. Is it a person? Is it a group of people? Is it somebody that I want somebody to do a specific task, or is it a group of people that I would like to see do a specific task? These are the things that we need to do, and for that, we're going to need to basically do something called discovery. Now, in our discovery, we're going to look at a couple of different things. We're going to be looking at a person's mental situation. We are going to be looking at their consciousness, or basically the stuff around them, their physical environment, what they have to work with. We're going to be looking at their subconscious. We're going to be looking at how they were brought up, the way they were brought up, and the things that they were brought up with. And then we look at their emotional, or the emotional attachment to the way that they were brought up, aka their programming. And what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to hack somebody's programming. We're going to show you how that you can actually write code, for lack of a better term, with somebody, not over somebody's program, but with somebody's program, so that it benefits them and it benefits you. Now, for those of you who have seen these videos before, you'll notice that this looks familiar. Whoops, sorry. This is the alchemic pyramid. And today we're going to be looking at that bottom layer, which means that basically getting people to do what you want is basically mental, conscious, subconscious, and last one is emotional. And we're going to look at these individually. Now, the mental construct is going to be very important, but as important as all of these are, there's one in the middle that I'd like to talk to you that's not up on there, and that is the actions, the square right in the middle. The action square is really important, because if your actions don't ring true, if your words are not truthful, if what you're doing is not coming from a higher place, a good place, a kind place, it will ring false to the person's subconscious. And at some point, they're going to call you in it. They're going to say, this is not right. This is ridiculous. There's a whole lot of people that want to be fooled, but there's a whole lot of people out there that can't be fooled. because they're not going into their egos. People that go into their egos are usually led by egocentric people, and those people often get fooled. And these people can be very rich, very powerful. All you need is one sociopath to stroke their ego in the right way. Then the sociopath has complete and total control over the mob. Easily done. And you can see it in any one of 1,000 different examples through history. All right, let's get back to this. So we have this idea of a pyramid, and we have the actions. Now, the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to take a look at the mental. Oops, sorry about that. So the mental is going to be number 9. And the things that we're going to be looking at for the mental is how much does this person understand? In other words, do they have a degree in what it is that you're asking them to do? And a degree in what they're asking them to do, for example, could be if you're asking them to change out a transmission, how many transmissions have they changed out? If you're asking them to handle a court case, do they have a degree from a law school? Have they passed the bar? If you need them to cook dinner, how many dinners have they cooked? Have they cooked at the Sorbonne? Have they cooked at a restaurant? Are they just a really good home cook? You have to decide what it is their mental capabilities are. In other words, you have to decide, do they have the knowledge and understanding to make your ask come true? Now, moving on to the consciousness, which is basically things that we understand, can see, know, things like that. Do they have the tools necessary? If you're asking them to build a fence, great. How many fences have they built? That's the mental part. The conscious part is, do they have the wood? Do they have the nails? Do they have the time? That's all part of that experience. You got to be able to make sure that they have all of the above, and you got to be able to make sure that you can fit what you're asking into their consciousness. Because if you can't, it's not going to work. It'd be like me or you asking me to do a backflip. Now, in my physical world, there is no way I'm going to be able to do a standing backflip off the ground. Maybe off a diving board or a springboard, even better. So consciously, I might have to get you something that you can use to give me what I'm asking for. And that's part of those actions. Once we look at their ability to think and know and understand, we look at what they have as far as resources and products that are and time that are available to them. We have to ask ourselves, where did these people come from? What is their background? What is their experience in this? How many fences did they build? How many court cases did they try? There's a reason why some lawyers are $1,500 an hour, and that's because they've tried a whole lot of cases, went to a whole lot of great schools, and they have a really good winning percentage. And that's why they charge $1,500 an hour. And it'd probably behoove you to listen to them, because something made them decide to do that, to win those cases, to go to those schools, to put in all those hours. And that's usually an emotional component. As people have a history, which is their subconscious, of all the experiences that they've ever done, and everybody's got a resume, from Bill Gates to Elon Musk to Beyonce to Simone Biles. Everybody's got a resume, and that resume looks quite different. If I look at Simone Biles' resume and I compare it to Elon Musk's and how they spent their childhood growing up and what they did, I am damn sure that's going to look really, really different between the two. So think about the person that you're going to be working with, and then think about their background. Does this person have the background and temperament to be doing what it is that you're asking them to do? And finally, let's take a look at the emotions. The emotions are a funny thing because the world runs on emotions. We just use logic to kind of, a lot of times, shall we say, justify the emotions that we have. And most people's emotions are about the desire for approval and control. For example, when somebody was growing up in a very strict household that wanted to see greatness from them, a lot of times they would get an A, and then people would go out and party and celebrate, and wow, Johnny got an A. This is wonderful. This is really great. And so the benefit for that person is going to be a rewards-based benefit. And for another person, Johnny got an A, and that means that Johnny can be left alone, so Johnny doesn't have to be bothered. Johnny's now in control. He knows that if Johnny gets an A, he gets to go here, he gets to do this. He gets to go to Europe for the summer if he gets a straight A's. So he's in control of his destiny. Some people love that control. Some people love the approval. Figure out if you're working with somebody who's using approval or control to harness their past energies, their past feelings, and if their approval is controlled to approval and control are associated with which memories, because that will tell you where they are at currently in the physical world or in their physical life, in their physical situation, and that will probably give you the opportunity to judge what their mental state is. So, taking this off. If you come in and ask somebody to do something, you got to understand, do they have the capabilities of doing it? Can I give a piece of chalk to a 4-year-old and ask them to figure out the most complex problem that MIT has to offer? No. Mentally, they don't have the capabilities. Can I give this piece of chalk to somebody who has statics for many, many years and ask them to solve for this problem? Yes, that makes sense. Can I ask everybody to turn in the report on Friday in my company? Yeah, that makes sense. There's 5 of us. Should be able to get that done. Why? There's only 5. But now when there's 50,000 people, can I get all 50,000 people, everyone, exactly at the same time to turn in their report? It's not a shot in hell. There's too many things that are going to go wrong. People are going to have 50,000 workers. Somebody's going to have a heart attack. Somebody's going to have a problem with a kid. Somebody's going to have a new job and say, the heck with this. There's always going to be something going on. So whether you're dealing with a person or personnel, you have to ask yourselves, do they have the mental wherewithal and am I making it easy enough for them to do it? If they don't, and they're working for you, it's your own damn fault that you hired them. Get rid of them. Don't ask a person to do something that they can't do. It makes you pissed off. It makes them frustrated. They feel stupid, and you feel, why do I even bother? A lot of the frustrations that I see with people and in situations are people asking other people to do things that they couldn't possibly ever do. So before you ask somebody to do something, investigate, do a little research on this. Is this plausible? One of my favorite ways of expressing myself is, hey, that's a great question. How do you propose to do that? Throw it back to the other person as to, that's an insane question. There's no way we can get all this done by next Tuesday. How would you suggest we do it with 3 people and 40,000 files to go through? Find out if this is something that you're doing. And if you're looking to, say, for example, meet somebody or introduce yourself to somebody, find out basically who they are. You'll be much more likely to get an answer that you want and that you're looking for if you understand the person and why they are sitting at that bar, other than just coming up and saying, hi, I'm special and wonderful. I'm a narcissist. You should do what I want you to do. Here, let me tell you some bad things about yourself so I can gaslight you. You feel bad about yourself. You crave my approval. Okay, there we go. That's a manipulating SOB. That's not what this is used for. This is used to help people grow. This is to help you grow. This is to help you actually, more importantly, getting somebody else to do something, for you to do something. And I'll explain to you why and how at the end of this. So we've gone over basically, do they have the mental capabilities? Then the next thing you have to ask yourself is, do they have the materials necessary to make your ask come true? And is this in alignment with their belief systems? There's a lot of people out there who pulled themselves up by the bootstraps, who believe that giving money to poor people is a bad thing. I think most of those people have probably never been poor. But there are some people that believe very strongly that abortion is wrong. And giving money to people that want to have abortions would be very wrong. And no matter how much I want to ask somebody to do something, it's not going to matter if their belief system is telling them, no, this is horribly, horribly wrong. And the emotion that they fear or they feel around it is total fear and disgust. See how that works? Fear and disgust. I was raised strict Catholic. Abortion is horribly wrong, so I'm not even going to listen to you. Don't ask that person to donate money to an abortion clinic. Don't ask your personnel if they want to work overtime if you are unwilling to work overtime, because you know what their history says? Their history goes like this. They look at you and they see you leaving every night at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock while they stay late and work. So their feeling towards you is resentment. And that resentment has festered for quite some time. And consciously, the work that they have to do just keeps mounting and growing. Mentally, they know they've got a wife and a kid at home. So they're not going to basically tell you to right away. But eventually, over time, their work will suffer and decrease and not be as good. And they will get frustrated, sick, and then they will go out. And you might be, since you're probably not the nicest person, thinking to yourself, well, I'll just replace it with another person. But guess what? That's going to cost more money to train a person, to bring a person in, and everything else than to just treat people right. And we can treat people right and get what we want, because there's a lot of people who will give us what we want because they want to give it to us. The examples of that are love, kindness, smiles, reading, song, art, numbers. I can think of any one of 1,000 examples of things that people do for the love of doing it. Some people, which is beyond me, love mathematics. They can do math problems all day. Personally, I have no idea how they do that. I'm not a math guy. Excuse me. But there are people out there that just love mathematics. And there are people out there who to do woodwork and wood carving. And that's great. I'm not a wood carver. I've got 10 fingers. Being a woodworker, I'm pretty much sure within 3 months I'd have basically an ability to count to 7.5. But there are people out there that want to do what it is that you're looking for. Your trick is to find them. And the way to find the good people, the new people, the people that are going to give you what it is that you're looking for, is to create something new and different based upon something that's old and crappy. So in other words, you have a setup and your setup's going good, but you want to do something to make it better. You want to make more money and more clients. You want to find a new mate. You want to find a new relationship, something like that. Well, if you haven't been looking for, maybe it's time for you to change, or what you're offering to change. And by doing that, by creating something new, you're giving your opportunity of meeting new people, of creating new situations, and then exploring what and who comes through your door. For a lot of us, we get emails all the time. And a lot of us are really just overwhelmed with stuff, and we don't have the ability to kind of deal with it. But do you ever get an email that isn't trying to sell you something, but is just trying to offer you something? I've got a special offer. Well, is it really that special? Probably not. But when it's something that you need, you'll take the extra second or two to see, okay, well, that's my favorite brand. I think I'll take a look at that. If you take the time and work with people and find out who they are, to investigate them, who they are, and what it is that they're looking for, then your offer has what? Your offer has validity, especially if you can back it with the resources necessary so that both parties are happy. Both parties get that positive outcome. Is it self-serving? Yes, most things are self-serving. Yes, most people are self-serving. I want love. You want love. I want to give you love. You want to give me love. Bingo. Life is good. I need these files filed. You need a paycheck. You file the files for me. I pay you money. Bingo. Everybody's happy. Easy. It's a trade. But when the trade becomes a barter and the barter becomes a situation where you're just hammering down on somebody to get the maximum out of them so that you can live a grand and amazing lifestyle while the other person suffers, well, then you get basically a whole lot of bad things happening. You get a revolution like they did in France. You get a revolution like they had over in India. You get a revolution. You get the idea. There's always a revolution. Somebody revolts. Somebody says, no, I'm not going to take it anymore. We've all had those relationships, and we're with somebody and you just don't feel like you're with anybody. What do? You revolt. Because mentally, even though you're saying you're not keeping count, you are keeping count. Everybody keeps count. Okay? There's only a very few blessed people that can't keep count. And we usually call those people dogs. And that's why we love them so much, because they don't care. They don't keep count. They're just happy to see you, usually. And if a dog is unhappy to see you, you've probably done something really bad to that dog. So people keep count. And because they keep count, they basically surround themselves with you, or they don't. They make time for you, or they don't. That's how if you're reaching that person or if you're not reaching that person, because that person has a history of how you treated them. And you may have thought that you treated them very well, but the other person didn't, because everybody has a very different life experience. And that's what basically the investigation is about. It's about finding out their life experience so that you can find out the emotions that they attached to those people. A person sits in a rowboat, middle of a lake, total solitude, finds it blissful, finds it great, loves the solitude. Another person is bored to hell, just can't take it anymore. I'm just really bored of being out here in this canoe all by myself. Who's right? They both are. The question is, which one's going to be right for you? The person who's going to talk, or the person who just enjoys their solitude? Can you sit on one side of the couch without talking to the other person, just enjoying a movie with? Or do you have to constantly talk and make edits all through the movie? Because for some people, that'll drive them nuts. Find out the emotional feelings that people have with the actions that they have taken. Everybody is self-serving, but the key is authenticity. Are you authentically offering somebody something that they can enjoy with you? Maybe both of you love to talk through the movie and scream at the screen. That's what you do together. And that's fun. You throw popcorn at each other. You smile, you laugh, you snuggle in blankets. That's your scene. Perfect. The other people are two people that are engrossed in the movie, and they don't want to be talked to. They don't want to hear you talk. They want to catch every single nuance and analyze every single detail of the movie. And so they just want to be 100% into the movie. They're totally focused out who it is. The focused people, those are great people to hire. So are the basic people. So are basically the people who love to talk. You have your advertisers, you have your human relation people, your HR people, you have all these different people, and all these people love to talk. And then you have your analysts, your investigators, those people are not big talkers. They want the facts, they want the statistics. Let them have that. Find out if what's going to give the person that you're looking to get something from either approval, attaboy, great job, love to do that, or control, i.e., yes, you get to have control, you can feel safe and secure, and what you're doing is good and right, and you're going to get your way. All right, the last part of this is to use this on yourself. I can't how important this is. And this is the reason why a lot of people get stuck in their lives, because they don't know how to motivate themselves. They ask themselves, how intelligent am I? And they basically have some issues around that, a lot of them. The funny part is that the really smart people have more issues about their intelligence than the really dumb ones. The dumb ones never seem to think about their own intelligence. The smart ones are filled and fret on if they're smart enough to be able to handle and deal with everything. The silly ones or the slow ones, stupid ones, whatever you want to call them, they just, and by slow, I just mean people that are just not picking up the lesson. Again, I don't mean mentally challenged or mentally frustrated people. Those I would never pick on. But people who just seem to just pick the wrong partner again and again and again and just never pick up on the clues. That's what I mean by mentally slow. Definitely not mentally challenged. The mentally challenged challenged people have a different way of looking. And a lot of times that way can be actually very positive because they're a lot kinder than a lot of people I know. They know that mentally I've worked with people that are sadistic, sociopathic, schizophrenic, narcissistic. People you don't want anything from, because if you take something from them, they're going to want 10 times back in return. Part of the key of is self-motivation so that you don't ask the wrong person. Because if you ask the wrong person, then what happens is that you get taken for a ride. You open a door that should not be in your world. And that's something that you don't want to do. So investigate them and go through their mental, go through their situation, go through how they were raised, and go through their emotions that they, feel about things and why they feel that way. And if you do that, you're going to really be able to ask yourself the following questions. Am I happy? Because if you are happy, probably don't need a vacation. I kind of figured out my life in a way that I don't ever want to take a vacation. I don't need a vacation. I love what I do. I'm totally happy doing it. My life is, to me, wonderful because I created a life that I absolutely love with people that I love. But I had to do it in a new way. So I took an old medium, metaphysics, and turned it into something new, sage. This pyramid that you see right here is thousands of years old. What I did with the pyramid was I put my spin on this pyramid, which was the ability to create sage, or the idea of balance, action, motion, basically energy, or who you are. Who you are, right and wrong, where you're going, and staying balanced is all about what sage is about. And with that, I have myself been able to create this life of like a vacation, because I don't need a vacation, because I love what I do. And I have friends out there that are cooks who feel the same way, friends that are painters, accountants, mechanics. All of these people that I know feel the same way. They do take vacations, they do go places, but they're not escaping their world. They're just gaining new experiences to bring back to their world. And if you're able to do that, then that is going to be the ultimate prize for getting somebody to do something that you want them to do. And that should start with you, getting you to do what you want to do. So right now, feel free to go to the website, which is toddhershey.com, go to the interactive, download the picture of the pyramid, and go ahead and follow the directions and see what it says about you, about how to get what it is that you want. And if you have any questions, you got 48 hours to send me your words, and I'll be happy to help you so that you can figure out how you can stop yourself, so that you can actually get what you want from yourself. Because if you can't get it from yourself, you damn sure probably won't be able to get it. If you can't give yourself respect, and I meet a lot of these people where they just don't respect themselves, but they need millions to respect them, respect from everybody else. So they act in such a ways that basically respect me. And the reason why that is because they can't get love. They don't love themselves. They don't respect themselves. So they have to have other people respect them so that they feel respected. And within that respect, it's a pour of. So do the work. Do the work of something that will allow you, allow you love. It will allow you to feed your soul. It will allow you to create something for yourself. And that up 4 words. What is your mental state? What is your conscious state or state of consciousness? And describe your world in 1 word, your basically upbringing in 1 word, and describe how you feel about it. Now you can do this with your job. Mentally, how do you feel about your job? Look at your job overall. What would you say about your job, your environment in your job, your situation in your job? What is your situation? And how has this situation grown, changed? I mean, what's your situation been like? What's the history of this? And how do you feel about it? Whether it's with a person or whether it's with a job, or whether it's with your life, you can use these tools and you can make these things come out in a way that you can get more from yourself, the people you're with, or a situation. All of it works, but you got to do it. And you got to do it repeatedly, because the last time I checked, not many of us could just jump up off the ground and do a backflip. So use it well, wisely. Use it from a place of love. Otherwise, you're not going to like the result. That I can promise you. And use it in a way that helps yourself and the world around you. You do that, you're golden. Everything you touch is going to be gold. You will get the vacation. You'll get the life you've always wanted. Okay, that's it. If anybody has any, feel free to contact me at my website, Todd@ToddHershey, or through the email at todd@toddhershey.com. That's it. Have a wonderful week. Thank you for listening. It's been my pleasure.